Ladies and gentlemen, we all have these sheets in front of us for our guests. If you loved something, or if you have any suggestions, go ahead and write them on this sheet. Please put your name and today's date so the speakers know who and when the note came from. Tim Taylor has 3 kids. Over the years, he has tried to be a good father and do right by his kids. His kids are all adults and are leading successful lives. By the way, his daughter is getting married next weekend.
All right. We're all invited.
One thing he learned about raising children is to have fun with them. Tim tries too hard to have fun sometimes. Today, he will regale us with a story about a fun day with his kids a few years ago. With his speech titled, Fun with the Kids. Let's welcome our immediate past president and former Toastmaster of the Year, Tim Taylor.
All right, Tim Taylor.
Good morning, Toastmasters.
Good morning.
And anyone who's ever made a questionable parenting decision. Let me tell you a story about trying to be a good dad. Trying is the key word here. I wanted to find a fun way to spend time with my kids, so naturally I thought, jet ski, right? Where's Mark? Mark isn't here. Mark's here, unfortunately. I could already picture it. Me on my jet ski, wind in my hair. I had hair back then. Water spraying, feeling like James Bond riding around the lake. See, I had a motorcycle growing up, and since Florida's 50% water, I thought I could relive my glory days out on the lake. My wife, on the other hand, she wanted a boat. She had her heart set on one because we'd rented one once while we were on vacation. And I said to her, honey, boats are so much work. They're so expensive, and the kids are little, and they would be basically useless at helping. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to talk her out of that. So like a good husband, I compromised. By the way, that is the secret to a long marriage, my friends. So what did we do? I wanted a jet ski. She wanted a boat. What did we do? We got a jet mate. This is a jet ski, and it drives a boat. So the jet ski is the motor for the boat. So we both, one of the rare times in our marriage that we both got what we wanted. Now, the jet ski is so much fun because you can ride it around really quickly and turn really sharp, and a boat is a little slower, you know. But the really cool thing about this is when you pull the boat out on the lake, you can disconnect the jet ski and ride around all you want. And when you're done, you just pull back up in the boat, and it becomes a boat again. So you become the motor for the boat. So it's kind of like a miniature transformer. All right, we arrived. One day I looked at a map. We lived in Waterford Lakes at the time in East Orlando. So we had just gotten this, and I was like, where are we going to take it? So I just looked on a map, and I saw a huge lake north of us that had a boat ramp. And I thought, you know what? That's where we're going to go. And I figured that's all the research I needed. We had little bitty kids at that time. In fact, my daughter, who was getting married next weekend, was still in a baby carrier. But we set off for this epic adventure. When we arrived at the lake that day, I noticed something odd. There were no boats. There were no trailers. It was just silence. Did this concern me? No. I thought, wow, we have the whole lake to ourselves. We launched and started cruising around, and after a little while, when I stopped, a giant alligator came up about 50 feet from the boat. And he looked at me like, what are you doing out here? Now, gators are everywhere in Florida, right? So that didn't alarm me. A little while later, I stopped the boat again. Another giant alligator came up and was staring at me. At this point, I want you guys to really look at this boat. I want you to look at how small and close to the water that we are. We noticed a little island out in the middle of the lake, and we thought, let's go check that out. So I'm driving toward the island. We're 100 feet away, and I run aground. I put the jet ski in reverse and I couldn't back up. So what did I do? I got out and started pushing the boat. Did I think about the 2 alligators I'd just seen? No. Did I think that the fact that the water was so shallow they could have just waltzed right up to me? No, I didn't think about that. We actually ran aground multiple times that day. And I had to push the boat out multiple times. And then because I hadn't already risked my life enough, we were out on the boat and I disconnected the jet ski and I'm just doing around and going and impressing the kids and having all this fun. And I spun around really quick and got thrown off of the jet ski. So I'm in the water. I had to swim about 20 yards back to my jet ski. I didn't think twice about the alligators again. We actually had a great time that day. And when we went to put the boat back on the ramp, I got out, had to get in the water, pushed the boat up on the ramp, and I looked around and there were 5 alligators staring at me. So when I got home, I said, this is a really interesting day. I Googled Lake Jessup. This is a totally true story, guys. And this is what I found on Google. Lake Jessup in Seminole County, Florida is home to the highest concentration of alligators in the United States. Estimates of 12 to 13,000. Why is Lake Jessup so full of alligators? During the 20th century, whenever they were developing homes or whatever, if they had to drain a swamp, alligators were protected back then, so they took them all to Lake Jessup. And every time there was a problem alligator somewhere, they would capture it. They couldn't kill it. Where did they take it? Lake Jessup. Suddenly, I realized what I had done. I took my 3 little kids on the most alligator-infested lake in the United States in a very small boat. Not only that, I got out of the boat several times and swam around. I did some more research recently for this speech, and I found this lake is actually world famous for its alligator population. It's so famous that a movie was made about the lake recently. In 2024, a creature feature came out called Lake Jessup, Bone Crusher's Revenge. The description of the movie, Lake Jessup, Bone Crusher's Revenge, is a 2024 creature feature film about a hunt for a giant alligator in Lake Jessup, Florida. The movie is based on a real-life incident in 2003 when an alligator named Bone Crusher escaped from an animal theme park and killed several people in Lake Jessup. We went in 1998. Alligators live up to 75 years. So he was in that lake the day we were there. I still have nightmares about that. Moral of the story, guys, definitely do fun things with your kid, but do your research next time. Mr. Toastmaster.